Welcome to the FiveStack. You just caught us having a little off-the-cuff conversation today about, sorry, I'm going to check my microphone and hit those hearts, share this with everybody. We're going to get into it today because it's all rounding into form. Trump's vision for what he wants to do to the United States of America, and every single story we will talk about today, all five in the FiveStack, really connect to that. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, we love subscribers. Free or paid, doesn't matter. Narrative.org is where you're going to find my friend, Mr. Zev Shalev. Please go and subscribe to his stuff. Do the same thing for me, deanblundell.substack.com. Listen, we are not funded by big companies. In fact, it's quite the opposite. And a lot of us are actually being shadow banned and are losing followers. So the more that you share this information with people, the more you share these shows with people, the more you subscribe and share, free or paid, doesn't matter, but paid keeps us going. Paid keeps us moving forward. Paid keeps us in your life and keeps you in our lives. So please gift a subscription if you give a chance, narrative.org, deanblundell.substack.com. We don't solicit for money, so you'll never get that from us. But if you find value here, man, oh man, we're grateful that we get to spend every day around 3 o'clock with you. Sorry, we're a little bit late. I am back in Canada. And let me just say this before we get started with the FiveStack, before my boy Zev Shalev, before my man Zev launches into our 5 most important topics of the day. Just a couple of observations about America right now. Okay?
Yeah, just dying for us.
America's sort of like, to a Canadian, America's sort of like how North Korea is to the rest of the world at the moment. Like, it just is. Everybody's like, what's going on down there? Are there beatings all the this is going to... So keep in mind, I was in Florida. First of all, didn't meet a single person that likes Donald Trump. Not fucking one. And there was like a heavy religious conference in and around where we were staying. And I talked to a few people and they're like, no, he does not represent what Jesus Christ is, or he doesn't represent our faith. He's just stealing from it. He's weaponizing it. So that was an overriding theme in the United States of America. Outside of Trump, let me just point this out. Canada could take a page out of the United States customer service book. Okay, we could. I mean, customer service down there is incredible. People are so incredibly friendly, so awesome. They're there at a moment's notice. Everybody's smiling. Yes, I know it's a tip economy, but my God, what a difference. The people down there are no different than they were before the pandemic, before Trump as first term and before his second term. And all those people that support this guy are hiding, or they're, businesses, lobby groups, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the vast majority of people in the United States fucking hate the guy. Like, that was what I really took away from him. I'm like, oh, and they're just begging for people to come down. Had a conversation with some people this weekend that run a resort. And I said, tell me about, the visitors. Like, he goes, very few from Canada. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, why are you here? I told him why I was here. He goes, okay. Well, please come to the resort. If you can do anything for us, if you can tell people where we are, that would be great. I'm like, yeah, I'll wait 3.5 years. And he goes, that's the entire problem. And the other thing America has, and I will say this, is the portion sizes for food, too much. Y'all need to dial it back. I mean, the plates are just fucking enormous. And the last thing I will say is enough of the selfies, people. Enough of the selfies. The selfie traffic in the United States of America, in Florida, in and around any major city where you're walking around people. I got yelled at 20 times this last weekend. 20 times for people going, can you get out of the shot?
You're in Orlando.
Like, well, fuck, I'm walking.
You're in Orlando. Everyone is taking pictures in Orlando. You're like in the center of every theme park in America. That's the biggest place. So, of course, they're taking selfies. Yeah. Everywhere else, I'm not sure they're taking as many selfies, though. But I'm glad you're back. I'm glad they let you in and they let you back. And you know what you're saying about the economy?
Dude, you know how easy it was? Like, I got TSA pre-check. They didn't check me for anything because I've got all my shit in order, right? So it was like, I was worried. I literally, part of me was kind of worried. I wrote a piece about it that was on some kind of watch list or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that they've checked your social media before they got in, and before you got in, and I'm sure they checked your Substack. They know who you are. That's just what they do. Is standard practice now. They just let you in. That's nice. They let you out as well, which is also nice. And I'm glad you're back because the FiveStack needs you, Substack needs you, America needs you, Canada needs you, everyone needs you. And I'm glad you're here. I do agree with you that maybe all these boycotts of America and all the stuff that we're doing economically is actually playing into Trump's hands a little bit because, I don't know if that's what you're saying, but I'm going to say that.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because, at the end of the day, he's trying to wreck the economy. Sure. And if we're helping him by wrecking the economy, then maybe it's not helpful. Maybe the boycotts aren't that helpful, even though they make us feel good. They make us feel like we're doing something against him. It doesn't necessarily serve the interest of getting rid of Trump. It may actually serve the interest of accelerating his plans to tank the economy in the United States.
Yeah. Listen, I'll say this: the popularity of Trump only exists in the United States, only exists online. It doesn't exist in real life, IRL, as the kids say. To your point, so I think that there's a conversation there about what are these protests for, and what can we do digitally? What can we do to smash that perception? And I think that whether or not we're ready to have that conversation, and we can, is a little bit different. But the one thing I will say is that the United States of America, it is not a fun time to fly. No matter if you're going into the United States or you're just doing domestic travel in the United States. And let me explain. I was on a jam-packed flight and I got actually moved back because someone else needed the seat because people had waited 4 days to get on a flight back to Toronto. And we've got the World Series tonight. Jays Game 6, by the way. We're going to deal with that a little bit today. I am not going to the game. I cannot be around a bunch of people for this. I have to watch it in my pajamas with no one around, so that's what I'm doing at my house. But the one thing that's true, I fucking have to. I can't have anybody around me. I got a gluten-free pizza on the go. It's gonna be great. But listen, I just a quick aside.
Yeah.
The people that got on my flight that had been there for an extra 4 days. The reason why is because what's not being reported about air travel in the United States with the Trump Epstein files government shutdown is that federal workers, TSA workers, baggage, like all the people that make fucking airport work that are employed by federal money, federal employees by the government, they're not coming into work because they're not getting fucking paid.
Yeah, of course.
So there are so many cancellations, so many flights. And I had an American say to me, dude, don't travel down here anymore. Like it's the country's still cool. We're awesome. We love having you guys here. But if you have to come to the United States, drive. I'm like, holy shit.
Wow.
Okay.
But it's true. I mean, along with the FCC layoffs that was done by Elon Musk's Doge, and now this shutdown, why would they show up for work? It's extremely stressful work being an air traffic controller. On top of that, they're not getting paid. It's ridiculous. This government needs to open up and needs to serve its people. Meanwhile, on the Jays tonight, here's where we are. Gausman's working at 3.47 ERA with a 1.12 whip, and his split has been absolutely filthy against the righties. We're talking a .187 BAA in high leverage situations. Now, Yamamoto's incredible. This guy's blowing.
He's coming off a complete game.
It's unbelievable what he's doing, as I can't find my place in the script here to tell you what else I should be saying. But Yamamoto, it's a breaking ball arsenal. He's elite, but he's shown vulnerability to left-handed power. And with Vlad Jr. slashing .340, 0.402, and a .680 in the postseason, and Springer getting on base at a .390 clip, the Jays lineup construction gives them a significant advantage in late inning matchups. If Gausman can work through 6 and hand it to Romano with the lead intact, you're looking for a decisive Game 6 tonight at Rogers Center with a trophy staying north of the border, everybody. It's Go Jays.
Oh my God. I don't have to do anything. And I'm just amazed that you actually put that together. And I'm not amazed that you nailed it because you fucking don't know a thing about sports because you're so busy with other things.
That was Greek.
It's Greek.
But
God bless you, sir.
GPT.
God, I love you so much. And by the way, Romano is not on the team anymore. He left last year. It's turning it over to Jeff Hoffman. So,
ChatGPT got it wrong there. But anyhow, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate the correction. But go Jays anyhow.
Yeah,
Number
go
5
Jays.
story on the countdown today. JP Morgan Chase filed suspicious activity reports flagging approximately $1 billion in transactions connected to Jeffrey Epstein after his 2019 death, naming Leon Black, Glenn Dubin, Alan Dershowitz, and another trust parties to potentially problematic financial movements. The report cited concerns about human trafficking, wire transfers to Russian banks, and Epstein's relationships with 2 U.S. presidents, namely Clinton and Trump. These documents, unsealed Thursday after court orders from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, show the bank repeatedly alerted regulators to red flags, including voluminous cash withdrawals. So basically what's going on here is the bank is precipitating what would be the release of the Treasury Secretary's suspicious activity report, which is all the suspicious transactions that Jeffrey Epstein put through JP Morgan over many years, 15 plus years. Mm-hmm. And now the bank's saying, this is coming out, it's going to hurt us. So they've released it themselves. It's damning stuff. It's $1.1 billion worth of transactions. In The Greatest Heist, book 2, which comes out next week, I'll reveal a lot more about what was really going on at JP Morgan. That place was was very much involved in the Epstein operation and has lots to answer for. But the fact that they're
They're really the
releasing it is good news.
centrifuge for the financial aspects of the Epstein files, were they not? J.P. Morgan Chase.
They really were, and one of the things that we are revealing next week is the role they played in actually sparking a lot of the financial crises. I've been talking about it for months, but we got all the proof now. We got all the evidence ready to present to everybody. They were involved in crashing the markets. They were involved in a lot of the things that have cost many Americans their dreams, many Americans their homes, and their financial futures. And so we'll be revealing that into next week.
It's you only have to look on every single, website. You only have to look as far as any social media account or anything that anybody's talking about on Substack to see how hard Trump and the Trump regime are going at trying to hide these Epstein files, right? And there's been a few things, and I like to read tea leaves because the world leaves you breadcrumbs at the same time. You need to be able to follow those breadcrumbs to what the real story is around why the Epstein files aren't out. They're coming. And here's how I know they're coming. Because of shit like this, where JP Morgan Chase says, hey, listen, Jamie Dimon, listen, here you go. Here's everything. Here's all we got. Yes, we did business with him. It was fucking terrible business. We now know, which we always knew, that the guy's a fucking pedophile, and the restitution that he's paid hundreds of victims, JP Morgan and Chase. So that's one of those really fucking important tea leaves when you realize that these Epstein files are coming. The other one is somehow from the grave, the beautiful, talented, courageous hero known as Virginia Giuffre has caused a earthquake in the royal family. Prince Andrew 2 days ago, and this was William that did it, and he forced his dad to do it, King Charles. He's like, you fucking do this or I'm going to blow it up. Stripped Prince Andrew of not only every remaining title and obligation he had on behalf of the crown, they stripped his prince title and they took his royal lodging away. Meaning they said, you move out of the fucking Royal Lodge, dickhead. And by the way,
nice
you're
place.
no longer
That was a
Prince
nice
Andrew.
place.
It's I think Princess Anne gets it back now. Is that correct?
I don't know. I'm not sure who does, but
that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
He likes it. He liked that place.
Well, for sure he liked that place because it was a bunker and he could hide from, all the people that were accusing him of being a disgusting fucking pedophile, which he is, a rapist pedophile. And so not only is he not a prince, he's now has to go by the name. And this is really fucking important. Virginia Giuffre took down a prince, a royal prince who has been defrocked. He now has to be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He is no longer a prince. He is no longer living in royal lodging. He has been ostracized. He has been exiled. And rumors are that he's moving to Cyprus with all the other people that are fucking in Cyprus hiding from this. And apparently dozens and dozens of people are in Cyprus hiding from this thing. So, if you want a really keen kind of understanding about how not only Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase are now anteing up, and now you're starting to see real accountability around the Epstein files. And then I want you to add on top of that the distractions. Like, we're going to war with fucking Venezuela for some reason. We'll talk about that coming up a little later on. There's now a rapid response unit that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are putting together to crush dissent. Why do you think they're fucking doing that? Why do you think all of these things are happening around you? And I'll tell you why they're all happening around you. Because the Epstein files must be fucking terrible, far worse than you and I know they are, and they're coming. So make sure you remember that every time you read a new shocking development around the royal family or the government or the police state or banking when it had to do with Jeffrey Epstein, because my God, it is coming and it's hot and people are trying to clear the deck so that they don't get hit with as much shrapnel after these things drop.
I'm so glad you brought up the former prince because, Andrew has been so wretchedly involved in this entire human trafficking operation, this arms smuggling operation. He, of course, dated Ghislaine Maxwell for quite a long time. And in the 2000s, he even threw a birthday party for her at Sandringham at the Queen's residence. So, she has been part of that whole family. And congratulations to Prince William, the future king of England, who is basically forcing his family to reckon with the fact that they've been involved in some pretty horrible things.
Sex trafficking of minors.
Yeah. I was delighted that he gets to carry the name Mountbatten again because, of course, the Mountbattens are part of the royal family that enjoyed the same kind of things. They like to, apparently, involve themselves with young, have sex with underage people, and that's one of these, the dark things that it hangs over the royal family. And clearly, Prince William is looking to remove that from the family, and he's forced his father to do that as well, which is fantastic news. And good point about Virginia Giuffre coming, from the grave, from her grave, being able to remove Prince Andrew. But I think she's got lots more people that she's going to be removing. I think you're going to see a huge number of people from the Trump administration, from the former Trump administration. I see Acosta's up for investigation now, and many others are going to be running away from the Epstein scandal. The number 4 story, Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro is drafting letters to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping requesting defensive radars, aircraft repairs, potentially missiles, and expanded military cooperation as U.S. forces mass in the Caribbean with the USS Gerald Ford carrier and more than a dozen strikes killing at least, after more than a dozen strikes killing at least 61 people since September. Internal U.S. government documents obtained by the Washington Post show Maduro's transportation minister coordinating shipments of drones and GPS scramblers from Iran, while emphasizing to Beijing that U.S. military action against Venezuela equals action against China due to their shared ideology. Russia ratified a new strategic treaty with Caracas, and a sanctioned an Ilyushin Tu-76 cargo plane arrived in Caracas on Sunday after routing over Africa to avoid Western airspace. So you've got a whole lot of military shipments moving into Venezuela. They are ready for the United States and getting readier by the moment. This is not going to be a war America can win. Never mind, win easily.
Yeah. You saw the notes today, and obviously the breaking news today that it is impending. It could be today, could be tomorrow, could be now, could be happening now. Boots on the ground, military strikes. The Department of Defense isn't saying anything, but experts and mill bloggers are all saying, "Hey, listen, here's the deal," and I'll give you the short strokes. Is that they planned on hammering military installations with missiles, and then they're planning on putting American lives in jeopardy on the ground in Venezuela. Listen, there's something you can learn from this, and don't think that America, because they got all the shiny shit, is just going to be able to wipe out Maduro, take on Venezuela, take over Venezuela, take all their oil, take all their minerals, and it's going to be a cakewalk. I want to refer to the 3.5-year war that's going on in Ukraine right now. Russia was supposed to take that country in 3 days. Now Ukraine has the upper hand. Why? Because Ukraine, 2 reasons. Ukraine is fighting for something. Russia's fighting for fucking nothing. And the other reason is that it's their home territory. It's their ground, right? It's where they live. They know it better than anyone else on the planet. And Russia has been getting their asses kicked. I read a tally up to 900 fatalities a day for Russians. There's a Russian a Russian soldier that put out a video that said, "There's bodies all over the warfield. We can't even pick them up. They're rotting. Everybody that gets sent to the front gets absolutely decimated." Russia isn't just on their back foot. Russia is dying. They are killing hundreds of thousands of Russian men and women and children, and they're importing people from all over these countries because Ukraine knows what they're fucking doing. It's their country. Now, let's go back to Venezuela and the United States. You're going to have the same situation. This is not something that's going to be over in 3 days. If indeed Donald Trump goes in there, because what they're doing is they're going to war for no reason whatsoever. Regime change. That's the official title of why they want to go to war. They want to go to war because Donald Trump wants to control all the rare earth minerals, all the oil fields in Venezuela, very rich with both the natural gas, and they don't have the money to pull it out of the ground. And that's a fucking business opportunity for Donald Trump, his donors, his friends, and all the fucking big oil energy wigs in the United States of America. Get us Venezuela. Okay, I'll get you Venezuela. You're not going to get buy-in from the United States military for this. You're not going to get buy-in individually. You're going to have people, and I listened to an incredible fucking podcast the other day with a couple of military vets, and they basically said the same thing. You're going to have American soldiers landing on beaches, being dropped into jungles going, "This is fucking ridiculous," because they know. And that's going to be a fucking disaster for the United States.
The fact that Maduro is reaching out to Putin and reaching out to Xi and asking for all the support means that they are ready to provide it. It does seem to us like Russia is already sending in support. into Venezuela. This is going to be a very, very difficult fight. I mean, the United States hasn't even been at war in this kind of war against anybody, never mind against Russia, which has been war hardened. And they're sending in all their resources into Russia, into Venezuela right now. You can believe there are people on the ground advising Maduro. You can believe that their air defenses are top notch. They've got a million people army in reserve. They are ready to fight for their country, regardless of the fact that they might hate Maduro, because they are going to fight for the defense of their country. And what you've got here is an imperialistic Donald Trump sending in the American military to basically steal the oil from the people of Venezuela. Whether you like their government or not, that is not a good reason to be going in there. Certainly no good reason to be blowing up ships in the ocean. And, this is one of those tipping points where the world will decide whether we go into this aggravated sort of continuous war zone, which is where we might land up with. Because if this happens, then Taiwan may happen. There'll be even more confrontation on Europe's eastern front. If the military decides they don't do this, they don't want to do this because there's no legal mandate, Congress hasn't approved this, that they just don't go in, that would be a significant thing. I'm not sure if they've got it, I'm not sure they've got enough will there to do that, but it would be a real shame if the United States went to war with Venezuela over these ridiculous reasons. There's no narco war coming out of the Venezuela. It's really just about the oil, just about the resources, and about regime change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's about his dream of an America's empire that he controls and that his family controls and his friends control. Listen, what makes this even fucking sadder is this is going to cost billions and billions of dollars. And about 5.5 billion people are going to go without food stamps and SNAP this year, like today, right? You got airport employees and planes falling out of the sky because airport employees aren't getting paid and they're not showing up to fucking work. And meanwhile, he's going to go to war with a country that is in no way threatening the national security of the United States of America. Say what you want, as you pointed out about Maduro being a dictator. It's not America's fucking space. And this is now the war president. Donald Trump is going to war with the American people.
I thought he was the peace president.
He's not the peace president. He's a piece of shit. Yeah, he's a piece of shit president is what he is. He's a dictator. And his works don't ever fucking match his words, right? Like, and that's how you know the quality of an individual or a leader is if do the words and the works match up. And he's not a peace president. He hasn't solved any fucking wars. He's just threatening people into handing over hostages. Now, fucking, let's talk about that for a second. The peace president announces a ceasefire. There's no fucking ceasefire. They're still going at it. They're still going at it in Gaza. They still are.
The hostages back, but the ceasefire continues. The war continues.
Oh yeah, no, they're fucking pounding the shit out of each other still. So, what do you say? What do you say if indeed I hope the Terrence Goggin is correct? And he wrote a great piece about it. You actually retweeted it. Terrence Goggin Strikes Again, where he talked about the times that the military had defied presidents, when they were, what happened, and the strength that it took to do so. That is going to be the next test. And if we go into Venezuela, I think basically what you're looking at is the fact that the military is no longer separate from the office of the president of the United States.
I mean, that would be, look, they never were. They're meant to be responsible for protecting the Constitution. They're not there to protect the American president, especially an American president that isn't following the Constitution. He's not gone to Congress and got an approval for a war. Therefore, he shouldn't be going to war. And if he's ignoring the Constitution, there's absolutely no reason why the U.S. military should be following his orders. Of course, there's the military, there's the judiciary, the judges that are standing up for the Constitution, and they're the people of America that can stand up. And something's brewing because in D.C., Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and Kristi Noem, along with Stephen Miller and Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, at least one other unnamed White House official, are now living on military bases. This is story number 3 on the countdown. These guys are separated from the public by armed checkpoints now, while Trump declares Washington essentially crime-free. He's, has sent in 2,000 National Guard troops already into the streets of D.C. there aren't many protests in DC, so we're not quite sure why Hegseth and Noam and Miller and Rubio have all decided to live on the army bases, except they might be a little bit scared of what may be coming. They could be sensing that their lives are at risk, or that they're concerned about mass protests in the streets of DC. They've decided to retreat to these comfy digs that they've got at Fort McNair and at other big bases in the Washington area.
You know, you wrote a great piece. If everybody that's watching right now, we've got several hundred people that are in the chat. Thank you. We love you. Thank you for spending some time with us on a Friday. Really appreciate it, specifically because there's a big Jays game tonight. Some Canadians in the crowd spending some time with us, getting primed. Your piece was incredible. It's about the green zone and how many of these guys have Stephen Miller self-deporting himself to Trump's green zone. It was a fucking great line. And what people don't realize is, I don't know if you've been watching Stephen Miller's cuck wife run around calling everybody that hates her husband anti-Semitic. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
I haven't seen that, no.
The Millers got ran out of their Arlington community, as you pointed out. And people were like putting sidewalk chalk, you're a fucking Nazi, in front of his house.
Really?
Women were walking up to Stephen Miller's wife going, we're keeping our eye on you. Like, it was like they're, fucking America hates them. These are natural consequences of hurting the American people. So what Christy
do that's protest, that's okay.
Sure.
You're allowed
Absolutely.
to write things
you
on
can walk
sidewalk
up to
with
somebody
chalk.
and tell you can put sidewalk chalk and go, you're a fucking Nazi in front of
anything
Stephen
you want.
Miller's house.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
Stephen Miller retreats to General's Row with everybody else, like Pete Hegseth. And the interesting part here is the cost to the American people and how many real army generals have been displaced by this housing crunch because these guys are so fucking paranoid because of the natural consequences of their fucking behaviors, Ev.
It's ridiculous. He spent $139,000 renovating his quarters, which doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it's money that could go elsewhere. You've got people, not getting their SNAP money and for their food. This is ridiculous. The government is spending $139,000 renovating his quarters. And these are nice digs, by the way. This is where the generals are meant to live. These are the generals' row. It's meant to be where the admirals and the generals of the military, the smartest people in our military, are there to protect the American people. It's really
sacred housing for real military people.
It's not meant to be Wisteria Lane. It's not meant to be for Rubio and Hegseth and Miller and Katie Miller to show up there and take over. This is designed for the generals. They're there to look after our country. They're not there to be removed now, because none of them can get their housing now, because the cabinet is so scared to do what they've done to the country that they have to retreat behind bases. I mean, think about it. If they were good leaders, they would have no problem being in front of the people. They'd be
walking out of the front of their house, and people were going, "Hi, Mr. Miller. Hi, Mr. Hegseth. Thanks for what you're doing for the country. We love you." They're not doing that.
No,
these are proper Americans in Washington, D.C., who are, lots of them are Republicans, lots of them are conservatives, probably lots of them are Democrats, who just fucking hate these guys because they're hurting their friends and their communities. They're sending fucking militarized units into their communities to beat the shit out of migrants. Like, it's happening all across the United States. They're destroying democracy. People are allowed to have a fucking problem with that and go to someone's house, ring the doorbell, and go, "What are you fucking doing?" But instead of these guys being celebrated, they're fucking hiding in pure paranoia in an army base in fake subdivisions. By the way, they built these. I just realized that. I did a little research today. Some of these army bases have like beautiful homes, fake subdivisions, so that the military families and the generals and the majors and the lieutenants and all that actually live in those quarters, their families can have somewhat of a normal semblance of life. There's schools, there's parks, there's movie theaters, there's that kind of stuff. It's like a fucking fake community. But it's behind barbed wire with a bunch of people with M16s and missiles standing there saying you can't fucking come in. What does that tell you about the fucking content of the character of the people who have begged to get on those bases? The funny part was that Tulsi Gabbard begged for one of these houses, and they're like, "You're not important enough, no."
They can get one for her because there's so many people applying for this in the administration. I mean, these people are clearly not doing the people's business because they wouldn't be so scared of the people. Right. What they're doing is running a crime syndicate inside the executive of the United States government, and now they're hiding. They're using the U.S. military to hide, which tells you another thing. They are so petrified. They have no support out there. You were talking about this at the start of the show. There is no Trump support out there. It's paper thin. It doesn't really exist. And those people
It's a fucking mirage, dude.
It's a mirage. It's Schrodinger's cat. They are determined absolutely to present themselves as powerful and strong on social media and everything like that. And they've got these bot armies and these whatever. They don't exist in reality. Those people aren't there. And these guys, they know it. That's why they're hiding. That's why they're running behind military bases, because they know they have no support out there for their ridiculous criminal enterprise that they're calling the U.S. government.
I have a word, and I want to warn everybody, because I'm going to use the word that I use all the time for people like this, like that punch and hide, kick and hide behind walls. I have a word for those guys, and it's a very popular word in Canada. And earmuffs, if you don't like swearing, they're pussies.
Yeah,
they're pussies. It's a regime full of cucks, babies, paranoid losers, and betas. Pete Hegseth has 500 people guarding him at all points. Pete Hegseth has 2 other homes, which you pointed out in your brilliant article, where he's got hundreds of fucking security guarding his homes. Like, they're stretched so thin that this pussy is now making a bunch of other people protect the houses that he owns because of what he's done to the American people, and the American people saying, we don't like you. We're going to come get you. And that's the state of the United States right now. That's the Secretary of War / Defense. Secretary of Defense meant to guard the American people. And the American people want his head on a fucking platter.
So does the military. The military is not really supportive of him either. You know, and then you got Kristi Noem, who's not even.
Yeah, what did that one general say? It was in your article. That one general
said
he had us before he lost us.
Yeah, they lost us. That came out of the Washington Times. It was a really good. I was surprised even the Washington Times, which is a right-wing newspaper, put it in there. But he's, in there. There's a general quoted as saying, he's lost us. He lost us completely. Then you got this Kristi Noem, who just recently got 2 luxury private jets approved for her travel as the DHS secretary, which just cost a fortune, and is living rent free right now at the Coast Guard Admiral's home, which is a beautiful, beautiful home, and I'm sure she loves living there. But it also means
is that the female that they fired, the female Coast Guard Admiral that they fired?
Yes, there is no Coast Guard Admiral because God knows. We need one. I mean, clearly all the narco drugs that are being smuggled into America via Venezuela, we would want a Coast Guard to stop those guys. But apparently we don't even need a Coast Guard Admiral because we're giving it to Kristi Noem, who now has 2 private jets and a beautiful mansion that she lives in. Rent-free, 100% rent-free, doesn't even pay rent. Almost $3,000 in her bag wherever she travels, does not have enough money to pay rent or doesn't have to pay rent while she works, on the taxpayer dime. This is ridiculous, but it's where we are. Also, at number 2, the U.S. Park Police is seeking to double its D.C. ranks over the next 6 months, from 289 sworn officers to as many as 750, with an internal strategy document obtained by the Washington Post laying out plans to become the premier law enforcement agency in D.C. The Park Service, the premier law enforcement agency in D.C., capable of keeping D.C. safe regardless of inaction by the MPD.
Are you talking about the guys that come around your campsite and tell you to put your fire out because it's too late?
Those are the ones. Those are the ones. But in DC, they also do the monuments. They make sure that not abusing any of the government grounds. And so the recruitment blitz offers $70,000 signing bonuses and streamlined virtual hiring, while Interior Department employees furloughed during the shutdown are being called back specifically to process park police applications, a top White House priority. The expansion includes, this is why they're doing it. So they're also getting riot gear, drones, thermal imaging, and missions into drugs and gang enforcement territory that one Interior employee called extremely unusual activity for park police. So this is an agency that's been parked with protecting the national parkland, the monuments, and the kinds of things in DC where you go and visit, and you want to make sure that no one's harming any of the historic monuments that they see there. Now they're being turned into an anti-protest police force. They're basically are being armed to crush any political opposition that comes up against Donald Trump. So along with the National Guard that's in DC, along with ICE that's in DC, now they're ramping up the park police and turning them into a riot police force. They are obviously expecting something. They're expecting something.
Yeah. Listen, let's couple that with another story that just hit the deanblundell.substack.com today. I'll just read you the title. Hegseth's Pentagon orders rapid National Guard riot units in every state. Critics warn the plan could chill anti-Trump protests and even target ballots in 2026. Now, this goes back to what you just said. The last comment you just made is, what are they preparing for? They're preparing to come after you. They're preparing to fuck up the 2026 midterms. They're preparing to hurt people that protest or dissent in any capacity publicly against Donald Trump and the Trump regime. That is what they're preparing for. We have been telegraphing this to you. All of the pieces are now in place. I'm going to read you what they're preparing for. What has been ordered? Guard units in all 50 states and U.S. territories must field quick reaction forces. It's a rapid force that they're putting together where they want to bring a bunch of National Guardsmen together, 23,500, and deploy them to 50 individual states. So if you're a red state and you're like, hey, my God, Trump's going after the blue states, fuck you, you're getting it too, dude. You're getting it too. Everybody's getting it. The quick reaction forces for civil disturbance missions, protests, your First Amendment right to free speech. That's what this is. Training includes, you'll like this if you thought they were just going to come and give you citations and tell you to move along. Batons, shields, tasers, pepper spray, target readiness, January 1st, 2026. 500 troops in each state with rapid mobilization targets and no habeas corpus, by the way. They'll just snatch you off the streets, kidnap you, and charge you with being a public nuisance and hold you in court for years and years and years. The directive implements Trump's August executive order. The Pentagon is now executing it. To your point, where's the Army? The National Guard Bureau is tasking different states. National security advocates are now warning that this normalizes national militarized police function that could suppress voter turnout, which is the point, voter turnout, or in worst case emergency pretext, target ballots or voting equipment for seizure. How are we feeling? How are we feeling? You couple that with NSPM 7, that directive, where they're already starting to round people up for being anti-Christian, anti-American, anti-Trump, whatever the fuck you can pin some kind of label on anybody, anti-you. You combine that with the Supreme Court's decision and Justice Kavanaugh going, you can target anybody according to race that you think might be in the country illegally.
Look, your story on deanblundell.substack.com, everyone should be reading right now because it should concern every single American. Now, we don't know how the National Guard will really react. Will they follow these orders to crush any dissent? But this is what the plan is. The plan is to have a quick reaction force to crush any dissent. Now, you're allowed to in America to protest legally. That's just part of your rights as an American. The fact that the National Guard could even be organized to be a quick reaction force to crush dissent is mind-boggling. It's anti-constitutional. It should not be allowed. And it's happening regardless. Now, will the rank and file follow the orders once they're given? We don't know. But you can tell by all of this activity, by the park services, by the green zone, all this, that they are waiting for some sort of big national movement to arrive in DC in order to turf out
they're
the
not.
president.
But here's the thing. Let me just stop you there if I can. They're not waiting for anything to happen because nothing's happening. People are being great. Like the protests have been hugely peaceful.
Yeah.
Not one protest during 7 to 8 million people protesting No Kings about 2 weeks ago. Not one, zero, absolutely none. People have been excellent. God bless you all. You're doing it the right way. It was admitted in the White House today that they are using AI and fake videos to portray chaos in streets across the United States that does not exist.
Yeah.
And they said, why? We want to show people the successes of our military. They said that today.
They're faking
They said
video.
it in the fucking White House.
They're faking everything.
They're faking it all.
They're faking everything. This is, Schrodinger's cat again. What the Russians and the Chinese have succeeded in doing is to strike fear in everyone's heart by inserting the perception of this MAGA movement and of this huge, anti-democracy force that's in America. It doesn't really exist. There are many people who are racist and Nazis and other likes of people in America, but are they so beholden to Donald Trump that they're ready to defend themselves, lose their lives for Donald Trump? I don't believe that that's the case. I think what we're going to see at the end of the day is what they're expecting is a large number of people, demonstrating and using their rights to demand that their grievances be redressed. This is part of the Constitution. This is part of what's expected of Americans. Mm-hmm. This is how we do our civic duty. We are supposed to go out there and say, hey, government, you're not doing the things that we've asked you to do. What are you going to do about it? And if you're not going to do anything about it, we reserve the right to kick you out. But This is the dream of Putin and Xi and all these people who have been trying to destroy democracy and bring their brand of dictatorship to this country. They want this clash. They want to see the military clash
Do you know
against.
why? Do you know
because
why?
they're in chaos.
Well, not only the two beautiful reasons. That's the first one. They want to induce chaos in the United States. They want to destroy the United States. This will destroy the United States. The other reason is it makes them look like just your average, everyday, run-of-the-mill country with a lot of people in it because this is what they do, right? It justifies their ongoing abuses in their own countries. If America's doing it, look at us, right?
It does.
It literally taints the pool. And you saw that here with the not January 6th, the convoy, the fake trucker convoy a couple of years ago here in Canada. You saw people begging, like they were goading. And these were infiltrators from Russia, infiltrators from the United States, hillbillies from Canada, goading the police into a reaction, goading a police. You know what happened? 3 weeks later, they brought some horses in, slowly moved people back and cleaned up the streets. And one lady got run over by a horse. And they're like, they're running over people with horses. Well, what do you think appeared on RT?
Yeah, not that.
Heavy-handed Canadian military and police beating Canadian citizens. Do you know why they wanted that visual? Do you know why they wanted that article? Do you know why they tried to
look so good?
Because it makes them look like, hey, listen, we do it too.
Yeah,
like it's great. It's like when you're drunk and you know you shouldn't be drunk, and you try to get everybody drunk around you because it makes you feel better about being wasted. It's like that's the most easily explainable explanation I can give you about what is really important to Putin at this point in time.
But what is also happening right now is this big crime that's happening against Americans. I mean, we're all currently experiencing, a 2008 on steroids. We don't know it yet, but the economies are going to crash at some point in the near future. All the signs are indicating that is a coming thing. He is determined to destroy the US dollar. He is determined to crush the American economy. And he's building, towards that. And all this other stuff is just waiting, just distractions while all that is happening. So if Americans are not upset now about what this government is doing, when the economy crashes, boy, will they be upset about it. Because, as we saw in 2008, hopes and dreams and your kids' dreams and your futures are all going to be whittled away. So, Donald Trump can end up getting $10 billion in cryptocurrency and a palace built for himself, if he's lucky.
I was, quick story to kind of justify what you just said. This is real world stuff. Took an Uber, talked to a guy. It's like, where are you from? Canada. We had that healthcare conversation a couple of days ago when we did the FiveStack. One of the things that he said to me that I thought was really interesting is he told me how much more expensive healthcare is already getting for him. And he tries really hard not to get injured. He tries really hard to stay well. And so he's working out, and he's, trying to figure out how he's going to have to pay. He's got 3 kids. But Uber isn't his only job. You know what his other job is? He's a teacher. This gentleman was a teacher. And he drives Uber for 5-6 hours at night to make ends meet. And now his insurance premiums are going to go from $344 a month, if I remember that number correctly, and I think I do, and this should shock you, to $1,145 a month.
Unbelievable.
$1,145 a month.
Incredibly, the hikes are insane. And they went public just the other day. I think people are now beginning to reckon with the idea of what it's going to cost them to get insurance going forward in America, along with all the inflated prices for groceries, along with all the inflated prices for energy, for power. People are really hurting, and you see it with the SNAP program, which is our number one story, but also the lines taking place at all these food banks. But let's get to that number one story because it ties in exactly with what you were talking about there, Dean. 2 federal judges ruled Friday that Trump administration must release $5.5 billion in contingency funds for SNAP benefits after officials claim the government shutdown prevents tapping money that 42 million Americans depend on monthly for food. Judge Jack McConnell in Rhode Island ordered Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rowlands to distribute funds as soon as possible for November 1 payments, while Judge Indira Talwani in Massachusetts found the administration's refusal likely unlawful and ordered USDA to decide by Monday whether it will authorize the release. Rowlands had argued the contingency fund can only flow if the underlying appropriation is approved, a position that contradicts the Trump administration's own 2018-2019 shutdown guidance. But that's all the technical stuff. The bottom line is nearly 42 million Americans are missing benefits starting on Saturday, starting tomorrow. And, now 2 U.S. judges are forcing the feds to start funding these with contingency funding. But it's only good for like 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, they run out of money again.
The interesting part, I read something today. It's like, we're going to starve people until Democrats let us take away your Medicaid. That's what this whole thing's all about. We're just going to starve 42 million people. We're going to prevent women, children, men, hardworking Americans, people trying to get by, people that aren't as successful or people who struggle. We're going to starve them to death until you let us steal their fucking Medicaid. That's what this is all about. Because that's what the Democrats are trying to fight for. I'm not a Democrat, nor am I on the side of politics or parties. But I'm on the side of anybody that's like, whoa, what are you doing? You're taking away health care for 20 million people? You can't do that. We're not going to sign on to that budget. And then they're like, okay, no problem. This is what the GOP said. We're going to shut down the government, probably going to go to war. We're going to fire everybody and anybody that has ever voted as a Democrat. And then what we're going to do for the piece de resistance is we're going to starve 42 million of our hungry people. Mm-hmm. And we don't give a shit if they die. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what this is. If you wanted to boil down into its very essence, the Trump regime is willing to starve 42 million people so that they can cut Medicare and Medicaid to 20 million people and kill them a different fucking way.
While giving the rich in the country a tax break, because that's what all of this was about.
The biggest elite tax break in the history of the United States of America, sir.
And they'll arm every police force that they can in the Washington, D.C. area to protect themselves while the cabinet retreats behind military lines into bases where they can now hide in generals' quarters from the masses that might come and attack them. This is the state of America right now. It is, everyone's saying it's terrifying. Everyone's saying it's frightening. It is absolutely terrifying and frightening, and it should not be allowed to happen. The judiciary is standing up. Let's hope the military stands up, and the people need to stand up. This is the time to do it. There's absolutely no reason that this administration should be continuing in power after everything they've done. I mean, this is not following the law. These guys are unconstitutional. They should never have been allowed to be there in the first place. They are insurrectionists. They hate America. There's a constitutional provision that allows us to get rid of them because they're insurrectionists. It's time for those people who can, and they're talking to people in Congress or the people themselves. They are the ones who can remove this administration, this regime from America. And for the sake of the world, they really should.
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard when they're all hiding in army bases, right? It's going to be hard
when... The military protects them. The military probably say, they're there over there, I'll show you. You want to speak to the minister? You want to speak to the secretary?
I left the back door. I left the back door open. Don't say anything.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Listen, what a way to wrap it up. To be able to go right back to the beginning to what's happening to those United States of America, Canada's best friend. Is the picture is starting to come into form that the goal here is to be as dictatorial, as mean, to starve people, to take away their health care, to destroy the United States education system, to take away any social program that benefits anybody who is not white, to take away any opportunity for people to stay healthy or get help. And that's really what this is. And I say this from time to time. It's the feature. It's not a bug. This isn't just a guy trying to do business and I'm trying to do the business of the United States. And this is something that has to happen if we want to save our democracy. That's such fucking bullshit. Let me tell you how I know that. Because if they simply can't find, and this was the excuse, well, there's no money left. Well, of course there is. There's $5.5 billion in an escrow account that a judge just told you to let go. Meanwhile, they just ham-handed $40 billion to this psychotic Argentinian president. $40 billion. And they're saying, fuck the poor. Fuck the poor. We're not going to feed them. We're not going to take care of them. We don't have a civic duty to do so, even though it's in the fucking Constitution. And instead, we'll take that money and we'll give it to this psycho with a bad haircut that throws himself a rock concert where he's the headliner while he guts Argentina's social programs and is doing the same thing to the people in Argentina. And if you haven't been to Argentina, I've been lucky enough to go once. It's a beautiful place. It had beautiful people. Sure, Argentina had its problems. Sure, Argentina's had its dictators. But Argentina isn't the problem. The problem is what Trump is choosing to do with the money that's supposed to go to the American people that the fucking American people pay him for.
Not only that, he is benefiting enormously. As I reported the other day, $1 billion just the first half of the year for him and his family in cryptocurrency payments and benefits from foreign sources. 90% of the money is coming from foreign sources in China, from these questionable people, these mobsters, these money launderers in the Middle East. All these people that his family is connected to, these are not good people, and they are busy buying his favors. They're busy paying him $1 billion in crypto that could be as much as $10 billion by the time he leaves office, while he's starving the American people. This is, the situation is pretty obvious. This is what this is what Russia wants America to descend into. They've put their president or our president in there as a Manchurian candidate, and they are doing exactly what they thought they would do. They're doing everything that they can to destroy America, and it's really up to the people, the military, and the judges now to fight back.
Don't you think it'd just be easier to release the Epstein files, by the way?
Well, by the way, those Epstein files, whether they release them or not, are going to be revealed because the story is too big. And, even someone like me, if I can crack a piece of it, there are people who know a lot more than I do who are going to come out and reveal all this stuff. There's just no doubt in my mind that this story is coming out, whether Mike Johnson wants to put them out or not. We will find out what's in those Epstein files one way or another. The truth will come out. Everyone should subscribe to deanblundell.substack.com because that's where you can find a lot of the stories we do on the FiveStack, and particularly this National Guard story. It's a really important story. It's probably one of the most important stories of the day. So please check it out at Dean's website, deanblundell.substack.com. And
by the way, if I can, today's the last day for 50% off annual subscriptions, folks. So listen, great time to gift one to somebody. Great time to grab one yourself if you're a monthly or if you're free. We love our subscribers. We're so grateful for every one of them, free or paid. Just wanted to give you that quick heads up as we roll into a new month that if you want to go and take advantage of that so you can stay in the game, you can talk with us, you can be part of this. We've got, again, several hundred people watching this. And I couldn't be more grateful for so many people that have the ability to chime in, to chat. We get as much from you as you do from us, whether you believe it or not. And those paid subs are the lifeblood that keeps us in your life and keeps you in our life. So please, if you can, we'd really appreciate you going there and taking advantage of that yearly subscription for 50% off, which ends tomorrow. And I'll do you right now, dude. Everybody needs to go and read Zev Shalev's latest about Stephen Miller deporting himself to Trump's green zone. That story I read with bated breath and shared it with about 30 people, put it in my daily newsletter because it's so good, and it shows you how cowardly these people are. Zev also has 50% off until the end of the month for his yearlies, and he is one of the truly great investigative reporters, and he's doing his level best to make sure that the United States of America knows they have a friend and gets the information that's just as important, if not more important, than anything you read anywhere else or the things that you can't read because you're not being serviced. And to that point, we had dinner somewhere. Our waitress's name was Wendy, nice lady who lived in Canada via Glasgow, Scotland, who ended up in Florida marrying a young man. And she said to me, she asked me some questions, told her what I did, gave her my phone. She went through it. She's like, oh my God, we don't get any of that information here. She said that to me. I didn't know any of this stuff. And she's like, I have a Substack account. I'm going to follow you. So, Wendy, if you're watching, thank you very much for the charcuterie board. It was excellent. And folks, that's why this Substack platform and people like Zev, us, my boy Lev Parnas, who I talked to yesterday, he's doing great. He's back. That's why it's really important to follow these people, follow the Midases of the world, follow the truth tellers of the world. Because if you don't, you're poorly informed. And then there's this perception in the United States, which I ran right into head first, that Donald Trump is popular. People fucking hate the man. They hate the man on the basis of what he does. Can you imagine if everybody got the proper information from people like us, from you, from anybody else, even the stuff we talked about? And I see so many people in the chat, and I love you all so much. You're so smart. Thank you for being here. Saying the same thing. I did not know that. WTF, WTH, OMG, OMFG, it's OMFG. There's such a void. Like it's funny because I don't know about you, but sometimes I think I take for granted the fact that we live in Canada and we get incredible information, unabated information, and we have a national broadcaster here in this country that gives us proper information. And by and large, it's all captured here too. We have access to information that is no longer available in the United States. So Please share the Substack. Please subscribe and join us again on Monday. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for yet another FiveStack. Thanks for doing this, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. And go Jays.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Go Blue Jays.
Thanks.
Game 6 tonight. They're going to win the World Series.
Have a good weekend, Dean.
Good night,
Have a great
everybody.
weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
You too, buddy.